Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It's good to be here, back at Quantico, where it all started for all of us. So I want to greet, of course, my classmates, the Gold Star families that are here. You add a great deal to our ceremony. You bring the reverence that such a ceremony when we honor our fallen is necessary, and you aid us in doing that. So thank you all for being here. And I want to thank the organizers who have done such a job putting on all of these events and are here once again making this event go down well. You know, from whatever commissioning source we have, whether you come out of the Naval Academy, whether you were picked up in the PLC program, or like me, or went through Officers Candidate School, whichever that is, we all came here to Quantico, Virginia, and we chose the path of the warrior. And the path of the warrior for us led through the United States Marine Corps. So we come to Quantico and we go through a rite of passage. We're tested physically. I still remember running and walking through the hill trail. I remember all of the pressure that was put upon us by our sergeant instructors and our platoon sergeants, wanting to know if we had the mettle that it took to be able to stand up under pressure, bear up under that, make decisions, and carry on as a Marine officer should. So that was part of our training here at Quantico, Virginia as well. And eventually it came to a day when it was decided that we had passed that rite of passage into the Marine Corps, and we were told that we would be United States Marines and Marine officers. And from that moment and forevermore, the Eagle Globe and Anchor was burned into our heart and seared on our soul. And the old adage that says, once a Marine, always a Marine, I think is exemplified here today. Look at us. I feel every bit as much as a Marine as I did back in 1966 when we were designated second lieutenants. There's still a fire in my heart for Marines. I still see what Marines are doing. I'm proud of them. I recall the stories that General Dunford told last night. That made me proud just to hear what Marines today are doing. So we were Marines back in those days. We had gone through all those things. We were designated and commissioned second lieutenants. We were fit. We were proud. We were confident. We had that fearlessness that youth gives us. There wasn't anything we couldn't do. There wasn't any enemy we couldn't overcome. And that was for us, as we stood shoulder to shoulder, a bonding process that would continue on and on to our fight in Vietnam. And if you look back at those times and you think about our classes and the people that were within them, the people that we're honoring here today, the men who gave their lives and the women, they are indeed with us in the pictures. So when you go back to that day, we're all whole, we're all there, we're all together, and even those which we're honoring were standing with us and doing all those things that I'm speaking about. And then we went to Vietnam. We were trained, some of us went straight down to Pensacola, like me, out of Officers Candidate School. Others went to the basic school, most of you did. And at some point we were sent off and we were trained to do whatever the Marine Corps thought it was they needed us to do, and we did that. And we were in our hearts, whatever our job was, whatever our MOS was, in our hearts, we were Marines. That's what we were deep down. Whether you were flying an airplane, driving a tank, whether you were working in logistics or admin or infantry, it didn't matter. We were Marines, and we were told we're going to go to war and we're going to fight. And I don't know about you, but they didn't ask me which war I wanted to fight. They said, this is the war we have and you're going, and we went. And we went willingly, and we went with a warrior spirit. And it was a war that was not well received in some parts of our nation. I recall that. But Marines are not politicians. It's not up to us to decide those things. Marines are fighters, and fight we did. And I still have memories in Vietnam. I may not be able to tell you what I had for lunch yesterday with great detail, but I can tell you what sea rations tasted like in Vietnam. And I can tell you how I would trade with my radio operator, Corporal Ski from New Jersey. He liked the spaghetti, I liked the eggs, we would swap. Those memories are vivid. Since Vietnam, I have flown thousands of missions. But none of those missions stand as vividly in my mind as flying into the rock pile and bringing out wounded and permanent routine Marines. The memories we had back in those times stand out in our mind, I think, with a clarity that it's hard for us to capture now with things that are more recent. But if we look back and someone says, well, how'd your life go? What did you do? I know at least I'm of an age where I have more runway behind me than I've got in front of me. And it's easier for me to understand. I know what my life's going to look like, at least up to this point. And when I look backwards at what are the meaningful times, what are those milestones in our lives that we look back and say, those were the formative years? And I submit to you that it's the years that we spent as Marines. It's the years we spent being a band of brothers, the years that we trained, the years that we fought. Those are the years that, in my mind, tested us and let us know that we were Marines, and we were men, and we could stand the test, and it wasn't anything that was too hard for us. So Vietnam went on to that point, but we didn't all return. And today we honor those people, those men and women who didn't come back with us. And we ask the question sometimes, well, why did we come back and they didn't come back? I don't know that answer. I have no insight into what that is. But what I do know is that Vietnam, and some people think that's that little war in Southeast Asia, was in fact 58,000 Americans gave their lives in Vietnam. That's more people than died in Korea, in Iran, and Afghanistan, all added together. More people gave their lives in Vietnam than in those conflicts. The war in Vietnam was marked, as all wars are, with danger. But the courage and the bravery of Marines fighting on the battlefields of Vietnam is something that we should all be proud of. And there are heroes in this audience today who were there and fun. They heard the sound of gunfire. They withstood the dangers. They heard the wounded. There are just things in our mind that when you go back, I was talking with General Labouty earlier. If you've ever been in combat, there's something that is always there. You remember the sounds and the smells, and sometimes things trigger those at odd times. You're not really sure what they are, but they bring back those memories, and those memories are alive once again when we do that. But today we're here to honor the men who did not return. And I think of their lives. I have 5 grandchildren. Those men their lives were cut short in the bloom when they were still young and vibrant and active and able. They never got to see what their children became and grew up. They never got to hold a grandchild and feel the love that spanned generations. But they did live at a time and gave their lives at a time that I speak about, which seems to be one of the most memorable in our lives. And theirs was cut short at that very time and captured forever in my mind in the way they were then. As we think about them and we look at the pictures that we have, we see them as they were back in the 1960s, in their 20s. So in some ways, capturing them then makes me feel better, knowing that they're forever young. You know, I'm a man of faith. I believe there's a God, and I believe there's a heaven. And I think that in that heaven, there's a place where only the bravest may lie down. And it's going to be at that place that we will find our comrades when we meet our Maker. And I look forward to that. I want to see them. I want to see them forever young as they are and to remember them with the fun that we had. Today we celebrate their lives and we honor them and we think about them. There is a song, we're going to in fact have it sung later today, but I thought that the words capture better than any the emotions that surround this type of a ceremony. It's taken from the mansions of the Lord, and it says, "To fallen warriors let us sing, where no rockets fly, no bullets wing. Our broken brothers let us bring to the mansions of the Lord. No more weeping, no more fight. No friends bleeding through the night, just divine embrace and eternal light in the mansions of the Lord. Where no mothers cry and no children weep, we shall stand and guard though the angels sleep. On through the ages let us keep the mansions of the Lord." So in my mind, as we look this day and we honor these men, I believe they are in the mansions of the Lord. And I pray that they look down upon us and our efforts to recognize them and to revere them and to honor their memory that this is about. I think they would be pleased with what you all have become and your thoughts and the things that you are joining together to do. So I thank you all for being here. May God bless you in this great nation. Semper Fidelis.